Welcome back, everyone, to the Day Shift at Freddy's Fans YouTube channel. I hope you've enjoyed the episode so far because, well, if you have, then I've got good news for you. They only get better from here, in my opinion at least. And if they don't in your opinion, then, well, that's a shame because I like them. Anyway, I figured I should name the roleplays now, instead of them just being, called the roleplay that happened then. So, this one is called Dining Room Disaster. Yeah, because it takes place in the dining room, and it's disastrous. I figured I should also say when the roleplay took place, because I don't know, maybe people care about that. It took place originally September 2nd, 2020. So yeah, it was a while ago. But yeah, that's it. Now, let's get into the story. I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Also, I'm back now. Sorry about that. Another day, another phone person. This time, they were seen smoking in the dining room. How rebellious. This phone didn't seem to be much for following the rules, as they were breaking the rules of reality too. They were smoking cigarettes despite having no face. How could this be? Why, it was possible due to the simple fact they didn't care about the laws of nature, of course. It's not that they didn't have a mouth, they did. They just didn't feel like using it. A freakish-looking set of sharp teeth were visible in the dark magenta rotary phone. Not only that, but instead of having a dial, an eye was in its place. A glowing blood-red shade. You could tell this wasn't your run-of-the-mill Phoney. They were wearing normal-looking clothes, though. A light purple long-sleeved button-up shirt with a purple vest and bow tie as a cherry on top. This monstrosity sure loved purple. And their name was 13. 13 stood there in the dining room, leaning against a wall, loitering as usual, with a cigarette in their quote-unquote mouth. They looked around the room at all the customers, laughing as drywall and other debris fell into their food. This place was still under construction after all. People were still hanging from the ceiling trying to repair it. Despite being such a dumpster, it was coming along rather nicely. 13 grabbed the cigarette and hovered it in front of their face using telekinetic powers. As they were enjoying their smoke, a confused skeleton walked in, looking for something. It was none other than the famous monster Papyrus from Underswap. He was running around, lifting tables and children up out of his way. He was looking for his stolen cigarettes. 13 looked over at him and started sweating nervously. He hoped he wouldn't spot them standing completely still, leaning against the wall. "Where'd I put him?" the skeleton whispered to himself. After a while of trashing the tables, he left, deeply saddened by his extremely tragic loss of cigarettes. 13, relieved, smiled as they kept leaning against the wall. 13 continued messing with the time-space continuum, making some universes fuse and shit, resetting and starting timelines until suddenly everything ended, etc. You know, the usual, because what else do you do in your free time? They started getting hungry from doing absolutely nothing, so they pulled out a few snacks to feast on, and what better to snack on than bones? That's when another skeleton appeared out of nowhere, watching 13 snack on its deceased relatives. It was the other famous monster, Sans from Underswap. What honor to have such famous monsters in our humble whatever you'd call this. "That's some strange-looking candy," Sans said, knowing exactly what they were, with tears rolling down his cheeks.
"You're next,"
13 said, pulling out a knife and slashing at their skeleton. However, they were too slow and got blocked by a wall of bones that sprouted out of the ground. Then as quickly as they came, the bones disappeared back into the ground. "Always be prepared," he announced before running off. 13 was too stunned to run after, and also didn't really feel like it. "Screw you," they said before putting away their knife and leaning back against the wall, smoking the stolen cigarettes. Not too long after, another man walked casually through the entrance. It was someone who had almost no refs to go off of, so this art was highly improvised. His name was Luke. He looked over at 13. He was clearly confused about something. Was it the fact there was a demonic phone smoking in a children's establishment? Or was it all the people hanging from the ceiling, making this entire place a safety hazard? We'll never know because it was never specified.
No therapy.
13 said in response to this. Luke decided it wasn't worth worrying about this and walked off to find a kitchen to make some tea. With him gone, 13 could go back to demolishing alternate timelines. Unfortunately for them, however, something had somehow appeared behind 13 and was slowly trying to grab them. No! 13 screamed, as they used their telekinetic powers to fling themselves out through a window and onto the street outside. 13, unscathed, got back up and brushed themselves off. As they got up, they spotted someone standing in the dumpster in the distance. It appeared to be that guy from before, Luke, and with him was some strange creature 13 didn't quite recognize. Was that a pumpkin on its head? Without asking any further questions, 13 waved at Luke. He waved back before walking in through a door. 13 didn't feel like getting grabbed again, so they decided to have another smoke outside for a while. Meanwhile, approximately 2.5 hours before 13 decided to head back inside, we cut to the one and only Mr. Green Phone Man, also known as 9, was sitting at his desk in his office, thinking out loud to himself. When are those suits getting brought here? He looked at a clock hanging next to him on a wall and drummed his fingers on the desk impatiently. His office was dimly lit, with only a weak desk lamp shining an unpleasant yellowish light that barely reached 9's face. In front of him was a computer monitor with all the camera feeds throughout the location. He looked over at the camera showing the dining room. He watched as 13 flung themselves out through the window and some mysterious yellow bunny animatronic walk in through the entrance. Ah, that's another window we'll need replaced, 9 muttered to himself. He looked back at the clock. As it struck 4:08, the man from before, Lawrence, was seen wheeling in an animatronic and leaving it in the middle of the dining room. Finally, 9 said to himself. Lawrence wasted no time and left as soon as he put the animatronic down. 9 knew one of those gremlins would rush over to disassemble it if it was left unchecked for too long, so he stood up out of his office chair and walked over to the dining room. Alright, here we are now at the end of the video. So, you may have noticed that it says part 1 in the title, and you may think that this ending was a little abrupt, and that's because it was. Yeah, so basically what happened is, YouTube has this thing where unverified accounts can't have videos over 15 minutes, and right now this channel is not verified. I'm not really sure how you do that, but well, sometime in the future it's gonna be verified. But for now, the videos are gonna have to be probably a lot cut into 2 or more parts. Well, probably not, but we'll see. But thanks for sticking around anyways. And the next episode shouldn't take that long until it's done, so don't worry about that. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and yes, you know the deal. But yeah, see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.